It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. Bronco Mendenhall and the Aggies look to heal up during the bye week in preparation for the remainder of the Mountain West Conference schedule. Your home for the best coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. It is JJ and Alex. Thanks for being with us on the program on a Thursday, getting you ready for a Friday night, late night kickoff between BYU and the West Virginia Mountaineers. And man, we were talking with Mike Asti about this Mountaineers team. They're banged up. He seems positive though for a guy who has to cover a team who's as banged up as it gets.
Well, what else do you have to be?
I know.
It's not like he can look forward to NHL or NBA season in Morgantown.
I know. Let's get things kicked off here. Let's jump in right here with our guy, Mitch Harper. He covers, of course, the BYU Cougars for KSLSports.com.
It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, Mitch Harper. He is your BYU insider for KSLSports.com. And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Mitch Harper. Mitch, I think right off the bat, obviously the news that Nico Marchiol is going to be getting the medical red shirt, likely transferring out of West Virginia. That was the word. And so now you've got yourself another freshman quarterback going to get the start for the Mountaineers this week. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, excited to be on, guys. And, yeah, it's very interesting, the quarterback situation for West Virginia. It seems like it's trending towards Khalil Wilkins being that guy, it would seem. But, BYU has another test to probably face another running quarterback, which has, given them struggles at time last year and last season as well. So BYU's got to be on point and ready and maybe, bounce back a little bit from what was kind of a mediocre defensive performance early on in that Colorado game.
Yeah, we talked about this game earlier in the show, Mitch, and I told Alex, I think BYU needs to just take these guys to the woodshed. We haven't seen BYU yet take a team outside of that Portland State team really to the woodshed. I know they had convincing wins over Stanford and East Carolina early in the season, but there were points in all those games, as you remember, where there was a little bit of a struggle here or there, and obviously we know what happened in Boulder. I want to see BYU really dominate a team from start to finish. Is this an opportunity for them to do that, and do you agree with that?
Definitely, and I do agree because, Aaron Roderick was asked this week about slow starts for Bear and the offense, and he kind of scoffed at that. I disagree a bit because at the end of the day, they're not scoring points quick. They still found themselves down 14-0. They couldn't go blow for blow with Colorado initially in the game, and still only ended up at 24 points. I think this is definitely an opportunity. With how banged up West Virginia is offensively, BYU has the chance to hammer these guys. And, that would be a nice luxury for BYU, too, if you could take care of business, put the hammer down, have an extra day off, and then get ready for another road game next week. Could be a nice little bit of breathing space for BYU in the middle of the season. So I think this opportunity definitely poses itself for a chance to BYU to blow out an opponent. And, I want to see BYU come out strong. I thought the defensive line in particular was a little bit underwhelming initially against Colorado. I thought the interior of the defensive line and defensive ends as well. They need to play better and really set the tone. And offensively, BYU's got to come out and score points quick, not this kind of slow build throughout a game. So I think this is an opportunity to do that. And just don't give – Khalil Wilkins, if he is the guy for West Virginia at quarterback, any sort of optimism or momentum and belief, really lay them down early, because then I think BYU can cruise. This is an opportunity to do that, which is very hard in this league where every game feels like it's a toss-up.
What did we learn about the injury situation with BYU with the release of the weekly conference injury updates? And is there any other names on there that I think that we saw last week or didn't see this week or whatever it might be? What's the update with some of the injuries that we know about so far?
the most notable was Austin Leausa, interior offensive lineman. He was initially listed as questionable. Now he's on at probable, which would mean he's most likely going to play this week. He left the Colorado game early due to he was seen in a sling after the game in Folsom Field. And so, but Hayes listed at probable. Seeing Isaiah Glasker listed at probable was kind of noteworthy. Just, how severe was that being banged up for Glasker, who played the entire game, had the game-clinching interception. That was noteworthy. But Leausa and Tommy Parasis were probably the most notable. They're currently listed at probable. We'll get another update tonight at 8 p.m. and then the 90 minutes before kickoff update. But I think that, BYU, by all accounts, pretty available for this game compared to other teams. You look at their last week's opponent, Colorado, a long injury list or availability list for their game coming up against TCU. BYU in relatively good shape as you get kind of close to that midway point. So if you can escape this game relatively healthy, that you're at a good spot, because they had some scares last week with L.J. Martin. He briefly left the game for a moment, but then he returned, and Aaron Roderick said he is completely fine, good to go and healthy, and he's critical for this team. There was a moment when Carson Ryan looked a little bit shaken up, but he returned. So, BYU, they're in a good spot health-wise. They have navigated some difficult injuries with Sione Moa, who remains out, JoJo Phillips, who remains out. Those were pretty big in terms of depth, but seems like early on they're navigating it okay. But there are a few players that just carry a lot of weight for this team with L.J. Martin, with Bear Bachmeier. There's key players where you've got to keep them healthy at all costs, and so far BYU's doing an okay job at that.
What's the next step for Bear Bachmeier? I mean, he's been pretty impressive through 4 weeks when you consider he's a true freshman, not turning the ball over. They are putting points on the board, probably not at the rate that everybody would love to see it, but he has been solid, and he's taking care of the football. What's the next step for him in his development as they go into Week 5?
More shots downfield and having a higher success rate on those plays down the field. I think that's going to be kind of the next step for him. And it feels like still BYU's been a little bit vanilla with their play calling. Last week it was kind of taking what Colorado was giving them. They're focusing all their efforts on L.J. Martin. Bear Bachmeier created opportunities for him to take off and run the football, and maybe gives teams now more to think about when devising up schemes to stop BYU's offense. They got to think about, wow, this freshman quarterback with a weird number and a strange first name, he can also run it 20 times a bit. So they got more to think about there. But I want to see BYU take some more shots down the field. And I bring that up because it's what Aaron Roderick talks about. Whenever there's a quarterback competition in any given year that he's been leading these offenses, he talks about stretching the field as being kind of the traits of what his offenses are all about. And so far it's been, minimal success. There's been moments, but I want to see it more consistently, more of an effort down there too. And I think also finishing drives in the red zone with touchdowns. 7 times this year they've had to settle for field goals inside the red zone. Will Ferrin is excellent, and even though he had a miss last week and ended his long streak of 25 consecutive made field goals, you still trust Will Ferrin completely, but finish the drives with touchdowns. I think that paired up with some more shots down the field, that's going to be important, because we did see last week where BYU doesn't have an advantage in terms of field position. Going into that Colorado game, they were, about averaging a starting field position around their own 34. In that game, they were starting around their own 21. And so when you had long distance fields to move, it was not as easy going offensively for BYU. So that's where having those deep plays, those chunk yardage plays, could be really beneficial for this team and help them offensively. So that's the next step I want to see for Bear.
If there is anything that West Virginia could do in terms of like moving the football, obviously the question marks at the quarterback spot, but what dangers, I guess, is the best way I could put it, do they pose for this BYU defense?
Well, I think, they're a team that they know they're going to have to run. They got to run the football. And, I think that for, again, quarterback run game has been at times a tricky thing for BYU to stop. And we saw it last week where you knew Caden Salter was going to be able to run the football. And then that Draylon Miller, too, going from wide receiver to running back. Coach Prime even talked about that in his weekly press conference. And you kind of knew it was coming, and they still had some early adjustments where guys like Jack Kelly are saying that kind of rattled us a little bit. We didn't see that coming. That was a little bit surprising considering it was kind of laid out in front to everyone in the press conference. But so I just think that's still always an element that can be challenging. But I don't see West Virginia having the size and physicality to just simply run the football and wear down BYU. And that's where I kind of paused a little bit with them to be able just to do that. Whereas Colorado had real size in the trenches, and they could play that run game and try to wear an opponent out. You didn't see Colorado take many shots, whereas West Virginia, they don't have the size like even Colorado or BYU does. So I think it's going to be more challenging for West Virginia to just solely rely on the run game and try to eat up the clock and physically wear down BYU, because I don't think their personnel is in a place to make that happen. And with their top wide receivers being out for the season with an injury, that's been the case for a few weeks. And you still kind of got issues at quarterback where, yeah, Wilkins was a little bit of a spark, but I don't know if you're too afraid of him as a passer. I think this could be a pretty one-dimensional offense. And BYU, we've seen how that goes when they face teams that can become one-dimensional. BYU and Jay Hill seem to have a lot of success. And I just don't think West Virginia poses many threats because of how banged up they are and just the size of their personnel. I think BYU, if they're, not making mistakes, if they can, win that margin, BYU is going to be in a pretty good place in this matchup. And with the home crowd behind them too, I think this is going to be a pretty energized environment because it's been about a month since they last played at home. There's not many things I look at in this matchup with West Virginia's offense and BYU's defense where I see the Mountaineers having much of a edge on BYU right now.
No question about that. They're just too banged up. And as we talk about West Virginia's personnel and where they're at right now, and you look at what BYU presents, who's a player on offense and a player on defense you think is going to have a big game on Friday night because of who their opponent is and what they're facing?
Continue with L.J. Martin here and getting that ball going on the ground here, Mitch.
I think L.J. Martin's the guy that you point to get, back past that century mark of hitting that 100-yard mile marker. Because I think that, West Virginia's defense, I will say, they can accumulate tackles for loss and sacks. They have had success there. And when you look at their availability report, they're relatively available on the defensive side compared to the offense that's just been, in many respects, gutted. So West Virginia can get after you, but I do think L.J. Martin's due for a big game. And I'd say defensively, I've just been really impressed with Tanner Wall. When you kind of look at final snap counts for BYU in a given game, he's always near the top. And you've seen a lot of rotation in other spots in the defense. But guys like Jack Kelly, Isaiah Glasker, and then Tanner Wall is typically next in line on the snaps. And I just think that shows the trust, how much confidence this defense has in Tanner Wall. Because Jay Hill likes to work in Falatown, Tuwala as much as they can. They still got Raider Damuni too. But I look at Tanner Wall and L.J. Martin as guys that should have good games in this game. I think BYU gets a takeaway or two in this one against West Virginia. So those would be two guys that I think I look to for BYU to have some good games on Friday night.
Mitch Harper is our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Mitch, we're looking forward to this one. These late-night games, we'll be hanging out late into the night there in Provo. Can't wait, though. I always love these ones. I always like the Friday night games as well, so we're looking forward to it, and we'll chat with you again tomorrow night, man.
Yeah, likewise, Alex and JJ, appreciate it, and it should be a good one, and we'll have coverage on KSLSports.com.
There you go. Mitch Harper, everybody. Best in the market. Man, it's a weird week, though. I know everybody goes, yeah, they should roll. But the defense is pretty good, unless you're throwing it. You can throw it all over them. They're the 130 in passing defense, by the way.
Right.
So maybe that taking deep shot stuff. Look, get an awesome game going from LJ, and then what do you have? Awesome game by LJ, and then you get yourself loosened up through the air on one of the worst teams through the air.
Yeah, run them into the ground and then take your shots. I think this is a great game for that.
Just kind of get everything lined up.
Yeah, LJ didn't have the big numbers in production that he had been having in Boulder. I think he's dead on with that. I think LJ is going to have a big game on Friday night. Heavy run load to set up the pass in what should be a really, I think, a blowout win for BYU. I think This is a time for that offense to really shine.
103rd in total defense, but 130th, like I said, in
if you can't get this thing going
pass
against
defense.
that, look at the rest of the schedule.
Yeah.
It gets tough.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have our NFL Blitz right around the corner. You don't want to miss any of that. Stay right here with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Chicago Cubs right now leading the Padres. They're 6 outs away from putting this thing away. And then head up the road to Milwaukee. That's a classic.
That'd be a fun series.
Yeah. Two teams who don't really like each other, fan bases who definitely don't like each other.
The Cubs manager used to be the Brewers manager.
Oh, yeah.
There's no love lost there.
Love it. I love all that. Yeah, Padres looking kind of dead in the water. Haven't been able to produce offensively today. They have 0 runs currently, 3-0 right now in the bottom of the 7th.
Man, with all the money they've invested in their bats and to get no runs in a winner-take-all
All the money that...
wild card game.
Coach, where's that torpedo bat?
We need one of those stat.
What are the Yankees doing? What's Cal Raleigh doing? Does he have a double torpedo bat or something?
No, he just has a big dumper.
It never gets old. I'm such a 5-year-old. They call him Big Dumper. All right, here we go. You know what that music means, of course. It's the NFL Blitz. You can join Hans and Scotty at El Matador tomorrow, noon to 3. El Matador, Utah Mexican food staple for over 50 years. In Bountiful at 606 South Main Street. Let's check it out for yourself. Let me see here, JJ. Hey, guess what we got tonight? Some NFC West action between the ailing San Francisco 49ers and the fighting Alex Napolises. It's a great matchup. The Rams are... I mean, look, you can't deny the fact that Matthew Stafford, old as the hills, has revitalized his career, and he can thank the young kid Puka Nacua for helping him out. Who would have thought that Devontae Adams is all, can I get the ball, coach? You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, this Rams team is scary, but the NFL is very unpredictable, and you could see them showing up tonight, and I could see either of these teams winning just because of the fact that you've got massive talent. Is the injury list too long for the 49ers to be able to overcome tonight?
It might be. I think you'd start at quarterback, but Mac Jones was pretty good as a starter for the 49ers already this season, went 2-0. So does Mac Jones come in and play the hero and help this team get a big win on Thursday Night Football? Because this would be a massive win. This is a huge game for both teams in the division, considering where they're at in the standings early in the season. Whoever comes away with this may be the favorite to win this division. I know that the Seahawks are also 3-1, and they'll have a say. But these are those games during the season that kind of separate teams when it comes to the division. This is one of those games on a Thursday night. I hate that it's on a Thursday night because you usually don't get the greatest play from both teams on a Thursday night. But I love the matchup, and this is a massive, massive game tonight. I'm going to be watching. Puka Nacua, what a season he's having. He leads the NFL in receptions and receiving yards. And what he's done early on in his career is just phenomenal. When he's healthy, I don't know if there's anybody better at the position in the league. I mean that.
Where's this one being played? SoFi, or is it at Levi's Pants Stadium? Is it SoFi? Good. I hate when they play that thing in Candlestick. Remember when you were a kid? Like,
rest in peace, Candlestick.
I know. Remember when you were a kid and like stadiums had names? Like Candlestick Park was like.
Yeah, it wasn't all corporate. They had real names for stadiums. I know the young kids probably don't remember that.
Is there one stadium that is not sold still? Is Soldier Field still? Is it like, or is it like Smoothie King Soldier Field?
I think somebody probably sponsors
I'm
it, right?
sure somebody does. And they're tearing it down anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. Smoothie
Right.
King. By the way, don't make fun of me. Don't at me with Smoothie King. It's a stadium that's named in the NBA down in New Orleans. So,
Well, Lambeau Field, I guess, would be, and, you'll throw out Soldier Field.
yeah, Lambeau.
Lambeau doesn't have a corporate sponsor on it.
Yeah, there you go.
Arrowhead Stadium just got like Geehaw Field or something like that, but they still call it Arrowhead Stadium.
It's
But
like
that's kinda cheating,
Arrowhead
right?
Stadium, Geehaw Field at Arrowhead Stadium at Geehaw.
Yeah, Soldier
you by-
Field is steel.
Geehaw. Geehaw.
Do we say the letters or do we pronounce the whole thing?
Oh,
So it's GEHA.
here. Oh, it's GEHA. All right. So who cares? Said by one of two Chiefs fans within a 10-mile radius of this building at any given time. Parker, we still love you.
Hey, we're outnumbered here. I just talked to Rusty in the hall.
I know.
He's headed home right now. But
He goes, when are you guys gonna say nice things about my Chiefs? I'm all, get out of here.
never.
Get out of here. We'll have to at some point, I'm sure, but for right now,
We're enjoying the 2-2 start. Would have preferred the 1-3 start.
oh, it would have been nice.
Even better would have been 0-4.
0-4, we would have been, the NFL would have melted down. Taylor Swift would have broken up with Travis Kelce, I'm convinced. Wedding would have been off, for sure. All right, next up. Hey, your guy, Roger Goodell,
My guy.
the People's Commissioner.
Do I look like Roger Goodell? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you support all of his, the stuff that he
fan.
does. Big,
Most kids have like posters of
action
players on their walls.
Yeah,
I had
action
posters
figures.
of commissioners.
Oh, you have
I was a big Roselle guy growing up.
you have a fathead poster of Roger Goodell in your room.
Yeah, big fat head of Roger Goodell in the living room.
Everybody prays to Papa Roger at night.
My man cave just full of commissioners.
Thank you for bringing us NFL football, Papa Roger. He's going to be firing up. Well, at least he mentioned that the NFL is going to be launching a professional football league in the next couple of years. Awesome. So if you've ever played NFL or if you've ever played flag football at any level here in the state of Utah, for youth, it's all NFL.
Right.
So it's all NFL.
Which is fun. The kids
It's
get
awesome.
to wear the NFL
Oh,
jerseys on.
it was the coolest
Yeah,
thing when
fun.
you're a kid and you're wearing your NFL stuff, and so now you're gonna have a professional NFL backed flag football league. Is this where we can break in and have our first professional football team in the state of Utah?
I think that's a good step.
Come on! I know you were all thinking to yourself, flag football, that's dumb, but think about this. How about flag football at Rice-Eccles Stadium? Come on, that could be cool, man. I don't know where they'd play it. Maybe they would just play it over at like
Liberty Park.
just Rose Park out here. Just like because
Pioneer Park. They're playing soccer out there now. That's a good first step for Pioneer Park. Youth soccer games happening over there now.
They've never had a youth soccer game
I
over
was
there.
there the other day.
No, you weren't.
I went and got dinner. Third South, and I look over. Oh my gosh, there's
Well, they
youth
have-
soccer being
Listen,
played.
I'm not trying to-
at Pioneer Park.
They put those, and they're like turf fields now too, right? So they put like real. Okay, let's just go ahead and say it's either going to be there.
I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised. There was youth soccer going on at Pioneer Park. I'm not kidding.
All right. There'll probably be some parking like Draper. Come see the NFL this weekend in Draper. Woo.
They got all that land out there. I drive by it every day. Still waiting.
Let me see here. Kyle Hamilton joining Lamar Jackson as the Ravens are also dealing with his injury on top of Lamar Jackson. I don't know how they're going to. I mean, look, you're 1-3 already. You've got a bum quarterback. I say bum as in like he's hurt. You're just adding up the list of guys who are injured. Should we just file this one away for the Ravens don't have it this year? We'll see in 2026.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are toast.
Which is
1-3 is tough to come back from.
Which is tough 'cause-
And Lamar's hurt.
And Derrick Henry's having like an off year with turnovers.
He had 8 touches last week.
So
Not good.
can't see them really pulling out of that tailspin for now, but maybe. You can convince me. Otherwise, maybe. Next up, Devin Lloyd, by the way, true to the words you've been delivering about Devin Lloyd, who's having an awesome year, who is in a contract year. This is, by the way, this is proving the point by the Jaguars, right?
Yeah.
of why you do this. He was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Month. Not of the week, not of the quarter, not having didn't have one great game. He's the AFC Defensive Player of the Month, and well-deserved by the former Ute.
He had 2 picks last week. He's been phenomenal. He's having a breakout season.
Does he want to be a Jaguar long term, do you think?
Probably not.
I don't want him to be.
Does anybody want to be a Jaguar long term?
No.
They might franchise tag him at this rate. He's like, come on, man. You didn't even want to pay me, and now you're going to franchise tag me? I want to go play somewhere relevant.
If I wanted to get out of coaching a little bit of a dumpster fire, and I'm Zach Taylor, and everybody knows, hey, you're kind of on the hot seat a little bit, right? I would make this comment. He says he is, quote, unwavering in his confidence of Jake Browning. That's a comment I make if I want to get fired later, right?
That's a proud man.
We love what Jake brings us. Tell me again what it is that he brings you.
Pride comes before the fall.
Yeah, the number 6. He wears the number 6 during the games. I'm a Washington Huskies guy, and I can see the forest for the trees of this Bengals team. You need to get the heck out of there, Zach Taylor. Go be an offensive coordinator at a team. Build that reputation back up. Get out of Cincinnati. You don't need that place, all right? You don't need that place. I don't think so. But that's the kind of stuff that's said by a guy who's feels like he's on the way out, right?
Probably.
Come on. Mexico's going to be hosting an NFL game in 2026. We've seen it at Estadio Azteca before, right?
Yeah, I believe, or they tried.
Well,
yeah,
they've done it. They've done it prior. They did cancel a game one time because they got there and they're like, "Grass sucks. We'll see you later."
Was it Monterrey or Mexico City where they did that?
I don't remember where the turf was an issue, but it was like canceled the day of, right? Or 2 days
so.
before, something like that. And then they're also floating the idea of a game in a new market in Asia. Now, I know that they've played preseason games in Japan before. College football has played games in Japan before.
Yes.
If you could open up the Asian market, though, for the NFL, wherever the NFL goes, it brings fans. So do it. You took it to Brazil. I would have thought, in my mind, they would have gone to Tokyo before they would have gone to Rio. You know what I mean?
I've been to Tokyo. I have no idea where they're going to find an NFL stadium or anything like that. I guess you could try a soccer pitch somewhere.
They have so many baseball
They do have
stadiums
soccer
that look
stadiums
like
there.
the
They
old
could
school.
probably pull that off of the soccer stadium. Never mind.
Yeah, come on.
Nothing comes to mind. It's just so dense. The population is so dense there.
Well, they don't live on the field, JJ. They'll
get
clear it
that.
for the game. They got people living every square inch on every football field across the land. Fine. Have it in China. You know Roger Goodell's a China guy. Has to be, right?
Of course. China writes checks, man.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Rams 49ers tonight, Thursday Night Football on Prime. Cannot wait. All right, we'll come back, and we've got our best and worst, and we'll wrap up the show quick. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone. Best and worst on the program brought to you by the good folks at the Doug Smith family of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. All right, the best, real quick here. Was that
I want my $2.
his
John
sister's
Cusack.
Joan?
It's John Cusack
John Cusack.
yelling at umpires.
Not happy with the call. That, by the way, the video showed us what the call was. So
Yeah.
now we get to hey, you asked for the challenge and you got the challenge. The Cubs are going to win this thing. They're up 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th. And San Diego has not done a dang thing all day. They get runners in scoring position and they're just like, I'll strike out. It's fine. Big Ten is contemplating a $2 billion private equity deal. Granted rights extension is possibly part of that decision on the horizon, but $2 billion. So what does that mean?
I'd argue that's worst.
I just don't know.
They're selling out to private equity, trying to get more money.
Although there's
As
part
if
of
the
me,
Big Ten doesn't have enough.
right? There is part of me that kind of hopes they treat it like a private equity firm does. They go, hey, we're just going to cut some of the fat here. So Rutgers, been nice.
Maryland, you're better off in the ACC.
Maryland's undefeated. All right.
Yeah, you always have to make cutbacks when private equity takes over. Who gets cut?
They're like, I know it's the Big Ten. It's still going to be called the Big Ten because that's a great brand. And it does represent, but I don't know if you've seen some of my private equity deals we've done before. We flipped a lot of companies. I was part of that Starbucks deal. All they're going to do is make this like the Big Ten's going to be the Red Lobster of conferences because of that.
I look forward to it.
I don't know what it means. $2 billion. That means they're not buying in completely. They're not buying. There's no way you're buying.
Wisconsin, you got to fire a coach. He's got to go.
Yeah, sorry. They come in. You will be operating. Everybody will just be operating on one coordinator who does the offense and the defense. Okay, we're cutting costs. And then your worst of the day. The PGA America president has finally decided, we're not going to stick with this whole thing about how fun it is that the fans get into the Ryder Cup. They were mean. We apologize for the U.S. fans' behavior.
Golf fans behaving badly at Bethpage.
If it worked, you wouldn't have had to apologize.
Right.
But they were mean and they lost. So there you go. All right. Utah Mammoth, you got a pregame coming up here right around the corner, and then you've got the puck dropping at 7 o'clock between the Utah Mammoth and the LA Kings. So for Alex Napolis and my esteemed colleague Jeremiah Jensen, I'm Alex Kirry. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.